Hi there. Welcome to my knitting room. Welcome back to my knitting room if you've been here for a while. My name is Melissa and this is the Stitches Be Slippin YouTube channel / podcast where I talk about knitting, crocheting, just general making. Sometimes I go down some rabbit holes craft-wise because I have ADHD and I get distracted very easily. Today is mostly knitting with a little bit of crochet over there. We'll talk about her in a minute. She deserves her glorious moment, that is for sure. So yeah, I am going to, this is like just a traditional knitting podcast, I guess you could say, making podcast. I will talk about FOs first, then I'll talk about whips, along with a very fun announcement. If you don't follow me on Instagram, if you do follow me on Instagram, you will already know about this. Then I'll talk about sort of acquisitions, and then I'll talk about general life update at the end. I didn't have any feedback on my last episode. I attempted to put in timestamps for like whips, FOs, acquisitions, all that kind of stuff. And so I don't know if it worked or not. I think it worked. I don't actually go back and watch my video after I upload it. Maybe I should have done that. So anyway, I'll continue to attempt to do that and hopefully it will work. Oh, I forgot. One little thing that I should warn you about ahead of time if you are new here. I do enjoy the spicy language. So if you don't enjoy F-bombs and all of the other accoutrements that come along with a love for spicy language, then perhaps you may want to check out other more G-rated podcasts, let's say. Yes, so let's talk about FOs. I'm sure you've noticed that I'm wearing a very bright red sweater. If you were here, if you have been here, you will have seen this was my whip, one of my whips on my last episode, and she is done. This is the Alchemy Pullover by Knit California, who is Leslie Forrester Howard, I believe is her full name. And it is, she's bright. She's a bright bitch, let me tell you. But yeah, she's done. And I'm getting used to wearing this. I wore it one day. My husband came home from work and he was like, I don't generally wear bright colors. I am a sad beige girl and I wear a lot of neutrals, and he was very shocked when he saw me wearing this sweater. But it's beautiful, right? So I'm just trying to like kind of break myself into wearing this color that I'm very not used to wearing, but it's beautiful, right? It looks so pretty. I've been having trouble figuring out what glasses to wear with this sweater. I have about 18 million pairs of glasses and none of them seem to be the right glass. Like the brown tortoiseshell doesn't exactly go with the neon red, but I don't have anything that like goes with it. So that's another struggle I've been having. Anyway, Alchemy Pullover by Knit California. And the design was inspired by a sweater that Taylor Swift wore to the AFC Championship in 2023. Yeah. Chiefs red, obviously. And the sweater that she wore had this like slip stitch detail on the sides. And it had, where is the sleeve detail? It's on the outside. It had this sleeve detail, the decreases like kind of on the outside and the thick ribbing. And the slip stitch detail that goes like along the shoulder. And yeah, I'll put a picture up here of her wearing it. There were a number of pictures her wearing it and Leslie like analyzed them all. There's also a style person on Instagram that posts like everything that Taylor Swift wears. So she posted the company that made the sweater, and so Leslie went on that website and like zoomed in on all the pictures and she nailed it. Like this is, it really is a replica of that sweater that Taylor Swift wore. yeah, maybe I'll show you. It's got nice long ribbing on the bottom. The slip stitch detail goes all the way down on the sides. I can't really show you my armpits, but you get the idea. Yeah, so I used Frankie Gray Fibers yarn DK weight for this. This is what I have left. I had 4 skeins and this is what I had left. I made mine with, I didn't make any modifications to the pattern other than I made it shorter. It was supposed to be quite long and I don't want my sweaters to be super, super long. So I made it shorter than the pattern recommended, and I think I made it with less ease. I don't know exactly how much ease I've got here, maybe like 4 to 6 inches or something. I don't know. So therefore I used less yarn than it calls for in the pattern. Mostly because I ordered 4 skeins of this yarn to make this sweater like months ago. And then when the yardage came out, I was like, uh-oh. So, but anyway, this is the size I would want it anyway. So it is Frankie Gray Fibers with Jody, who's one half of the Grocery Girls, and her daughter Jordan run Frankie Gray Fibers. And the DK weight is 75 merino, 25 nylon. And the colorway is called Big Apple. And it's really, truly just neon bright fucking red, you know? Like, I will never get lost wearing this sweater. No one will ever lose me in a crowd. Maybe I should wear this to fiber festivals so everyone can always keep track of me so I don't get lost. Yeah, so I don't know. I don't really have a lot more to say about it. I talked about it as a whip on my last episode. So I used this project bag, which is perfect, pink and red. This is from Botanical Yarn. I got this at Knit City, Montreal 2 years ago, I think. And it was just like the perfect color project bag because we have to match our project bags to our projects, right? Yes, right. Thank you for agreeing with me. Okay, my next FO, before I pull this off the chair, I will show you my next FO, which is right in front of me. And I actually feel like wearing this sweater is going to, like, these two colors together aren't going to go together the greatest. I'm going to change back into what I was wearing for the rest of the day. And I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back. I was just wearing this like denim chambray shirt or whatever you call it. Anyway, I didn't want to be all clashy with like the bright red and the shawl that I'm showing you now. So before I pull that lady off of there for her glorious moment, I will show you the other. I didn't want to clash because this color, yes, pink and red go together, but not necessarily this pink and that red. So this I have made the Storm Shawl by Joji Locatelli. And I didn't mention this before. All the patterns that I mention, yarn dyers, makers, all that stuff will all be down below. So yeah, this is the Storm Shawl by Joji Locatelli. I can't fit the whole thing in here because it's pretty long. But this is a single skein fingering weight shawl. And it's my favorite. It's my go-to for if I need to make, excuse me, if I need to make a gift. It's a pretty quick knit. I made it, I think, in like a week. And it's only 1 skein of yarn, so it's not super expensive. And yeah, so it's a good pattern for that if you have like that one pretty skein of fingering weight that you've got that you don't know what to do with. This is a really good one. It starts out with a little garter tab up here, and then you're going back and forth, and then there's dropped stitches. There's an eyelet row, dropped stitches, eyelet row, drop stitches. There's a couple of short row wedges right here and right here. Okay, yeah, so there were some short rows, some drop stitches and eyelet rows, and when you're knitting it, it's all like bunched up and it looks like garbage on your needles, but don't let that stop you. Keep on going, because it's almost all garter stitch, right? So it gets all bunched together, and the drop stitches look like garbage when you make them, but don't worry. When you get it onto the blocking mats and you pin it out, it blocks out to quite a nice size for a single skein fingering weight shawl. So anyway, this was a gift for a lady that my husband works with. She has been working at their office for something like 30 years and she's about to retire. So I thought this would be a nice thing for her. She works really hard and I thought she deserved like a beautiful hand knit something. She is a bit of a maker herself in her spare time. She doesn't have a lot of time because she works really hard, but hopefully when she retires, she will have more time for crafting. And I know she follows me on Instagram, but I'm hoping that she doesn't watch my YouTube videos, because if she does, then this is not going to be a surprise when my husband gives it to her. If you do watch, Joanne, congratulations on your retirement, and I hope you enjoy this shawl. The yarn I used is Lillian Pine Fibre Arts. She doesn't dye yarn anymore. This was a sock set, and the main color this was the main color. It's called Cranberry Garland. And the mini that came with it was like a light aqua kind of color. But anyway, I just used the main skein for that. So yeah, anyway, I highly recommend this pattern. It looks complicated, but it's not. It's almost all garter. The drop stitches are easy. You just like wrap it around a few times, eyelet rows. The picot bind off is really pretty. You don't have to do that. You can just do a regular bind off. I think it just gives it a nice, like a prettier finished edge. And yes, I did pin out every single picot when I blocked it, just because I had to. Just because, yeah, my brain wouldn't let me not pin every single picot out. So if you know, you know. Oh yeah, I didn't mention this that I'm wearing. This is another shawl. I didn't just finish this. I made this quite a long time ago, but this is the Comfort Zone shawl by my friend Nicole Enzinger, who is Prof Pearl on Instagram, Professor Pearl on YouTube, and she designed this shawl. It's called the Comfort Zone shawl. This is also well, it's not a single skein, but it's one skein of fingering, one skein of mohair on like big needles. So like, it's a really very generously sized shawl for like a single skein shawl. Not single skein, but like, you know what I mean. Anyway, yeah, it's fingering and mohair held together on big needles and eyelet rows. It's a triangle shape. I don't remember what yarn I made this with. It's I think it was Fleece Artist or something. They have a bundle they call the Halo bundle, and it's like I think it's a fingering weight singles and a skein of mohair, like both bundled together in the same color, and I think that's what I used for this. So anyway, this is also a really great gift knit idea. Knits up really fast on big needles. Super easy, just garter and a few eyelet rows. Okay, so it's time. My Taylor Swift blanket is done. I realize that I'm coming off as a crazy Taylor Swiftie, but I had both of these projects in the works for quite a while, and they just happened to both be done at the same time. I am not like a crazy like Swiftie whatever. I enjoy Taylor Swift. I enjoy Taylor Swift music. I was not able to go to the Eras tour. I wish I had been able to. I just wasn't willing to fork out thousands of dollars for a ticket. So instead, I used hundreds of dollars worth of yarn to make Taylor Swift inspired stuff. That makes sense, right? Girl math? Anywho, my Taylor Swift crochet blanket is complete, and she is really, really pretty. She's so pretty. Okay, so I used I used the pattern called Hygge Burst Blanket by Mallory Crawl, who is Not a Crawl Crochet on Instagram. Well, again, I'll put links down below. It's a free pattern on her blog, and I believe you can also buy like the ad-free PDF or whatever on Ravelry or her website. So this entire blanket is to pattern. I didn't make any modifications. So there's it's like a sunburst granny square. So I made 9 squares of each colorway. And then I used her join as you go method, which is a little bit different from the continuous join as you go that most people use. If you've made a crochet blanket, a granny square blanket where you've continuously joined, this is a little bit different. You can see the line in between where all the joins are, and that's because you slip stitch into every stitch and sort of twist it, and that makes the join stronger. So it's not all, usually I think you just slip stitch in between each cluster, and this is you're slipping into every, I guess it's this one. So you're slipping into every stitch, and that creates this like just stronger join. Anyway, let's talk about the yarn and all of its beauty. I used Frankie Gray fibers for all the blocks. They are all Taylor Swift colorways. They have 12 Taylor Swift colorways. 11 of them are inspired by Taylor Swift album covers. So she has 11 albums. So every album is represented in this blanket. And then the 12th colorway is the Eras Tour colorway, which I used for the border. So for example, this is the Red album cover. This is Lover. Here's the debut album, Fearless, which is that one. That one's Tortured Poets Department. There's Midnights, Speak Now, 1989. What else is there? Evermore. There's Folklore. What else do we have? Did I miss one? Where's Reputation? Reputation is down here. I don't know if I missed any. It's so pretty. Yeah. And then once you get all the blocks all joined together, then you do some rounds of just regular grannies, whatever you call them. Granny stripes, I guess, around the whole blanket. And then the border is this fun like popcorn type pom-pom border. I was not sold on it when I started it. I was like, this is kind of a pain in the ass. But I think it turned out like it's perfect. It's better than just like a regular kind of like, I don't know. I don't want to say granny type border because it's a granny square blanket, but like a regular traditional border would have maybe been a little bit more boring. And I think this just kind of brings like a little bit more fun and whimsy, and I think it's awesome. So I really love that all of the albums are inside the blanket, and that the Eras Tour is like surrounding the blanket, encasing all of the different albums. Is that gonna be my my thumbnail? Anyway, I absolutely love it. So well done, Jody and Jordan, for making all of these colorways. They're perfect. Okay, now I do have one whip to show you. That's it. I have another whip that I've been working on. It's almost done, but it's a gift for someone who watches, so you can't see it, sorry. But I have one whip to show you that's exciting, and it's exciting because it comes along with an announcement. So if you follow me on Instagram, you will already know this because I never stop talking about it. But on my last episode, I was talking about like making plans for future knitting projects. And I mentioned that I really need to knit more cardigans because I wear them all the time and I haven't knit very many of them. So I need to make more cardigans. Yeah, and then my friend Jasmine, who is Crafty Jasmine on Instagram, commented on my video and was like, maybe like casual cardigan knit along. And that was really all the incentive that I needed. And so I decided I'm going to start a cardigan make along, not just knitting. I mean, you can make a crochet or you can make a cardigan any way you want. You can knit one, you can crochet one, you can sew one, you can, I don't know, paper mache, whatever you want. It's a make along. I'm not going to discriminate on the basis of craft. Anyway, I made this like silly graphic on Canva quickly, and I posted it on Instagram, and I made Jasmine my co-host of the make along because I didn't want to take her idea and call it my own. And also I didn't want to do this on my own. So I basically voluntold her into co-hosting the make-along. She has accepted this nomination quite gracefully, thankfully. So yeah, we're having a make-along. So if you would like to make some cardigans and join along with us, the make-along is being hosted on Instagram. As I said, I can only do one thing. I don't really do Ravelry. The whole Ravelry like forums and stuff are very overwhelming for me, so I just can't do that. So if you're on Instagram and you would like to make some cardigans, come join us. The make along started February 14th and it will go till the end of April. Whips are welcome. I mean, like, I'm not big on like enforcing rules on people, so start a new one, finish an old one. I don't really care as long as you are making some sort of cardigan. And all you need to do to enter, we've got some cool prizes already. All you need to do to enter is to post something onto your grid using the hashtag #LowKeyCardiMal. I will put that on here. I named it the what did I put it on the graphics? I thought it was so funny, but I don't think anybody gets it. I named it the low-key hot Cardi Mal because the word Cardi reminds me of Cardi B. And there's a song called I Like It Like That. And what does she sing? She is like, what is it? I can hear it in my head, but I can't think of what the words are. They call me Cardi, hot tamale, something like that. And I just had that like da 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 da, and I was like Loki, Cardi. No, what was it? They call me Cardi, hot tamale. Those are I think the words. And so I was like Loki, Cardi, hot make along. So yeah, that's where that came from. Welcome to the questionable corners of my brain. I don't know. I thought it was really funny. But the hashtag is just low-key Cardi Mal. Right? Yes, low-key Cardi Mal. So just post something on your grid If you're just posting to your stories and stuff, like that won't be there when we go to draw for prizes at the end. We have some really great prizes. Jasmine has a list. Like she's that awesome friend that likes to make spreadsheets. So thank you, Jasmine. We've had a number of makers offer to donate prizes already. So thank you so much. We've got Fiber Goddess, Ocean Loops, Northern Crow Creations, Pink Adobe Dye Works. We've got some candles from a really cool candle company that Jasmine's got lined up. I think there's other yarn. I don't know. I can't remember. Thankfully, Jasmine has the aforementioned spreadsheet. Yes, so we will talk more about prizes and stuff towards the end, but yes, post to your grid with the hashtag lowkey CARDI and just have fun with it. There's no rules really, just make a cardigan. You don't have to finish it by the end of the make along. Like, I'm not putting pressure on anybody. So I started making a cardigan for my cardigan make along that I'm hosting. I am making the Kingston cardigan by Taylor E. Owens, and it's just like a basic like v-neck cardigan, but it's got cables in the raglans, and then the cables extend down the sides. That's really all that's different from it, from being just like a regular v-neck cardigan. So it has not been blocked. I finished the body and the button band, and I just have to do sleeves. So here, I can even put it on because it's not attached to any yarn at the moment because I finished the body and I finished the button band. Okay. So, well, I made my thing wiggle. My tripod is wiggling. Okay. This is not really how I would wear it over top of this shirt, but okay, so you can see the cables going down the raglan. Maybe you can see a little bit better there. There's cables going down that raglan, and then they meet at the bottom, and then they go down the side. So don't look too closely at the cables that are going down the sides, because at this point I was just knitting and knitting and knitting, not necessarily paying attention to which row I was on. And the cables are, I'm not going to tell you, it's a paid pattern, but they're a certain, for example, when you do cables, it's like every 5th row or every 6th row or every whatever row you do your cable, and then it's just straight knitting, and then every 4th or 5th or 6th row or whatever you do your cable. So I was paying attention here because I was doing the cables and I was doing my raglan increases. Those are inside of the raglan increases. So all of these are the right distance apart. But down here, I wasn't having to track increases or anything like that. So I was just like, I'll know when I need to do a cable. So not really. Some of them are really close together. Some of them are really far apart. But I'm not going to go fix it. I don't really care. Nobody's going to be like coming up to me and lifting my arm and looking and counting to see how many rows apart my cables are. So obviously it needs blocked because I picked up and knit the button band, and so it's really bunchy and just needs to be blocked so it will sit more flat. But yeah, this is how it's going. It's actually at just the right length right now, so I have to be careful when I block it not to stretch it lengthwise. This is a non-superwash yarn, so hopefully it won't block out too much when I block it. I just want to like block it basically just to get it to sit flat. Don't need to stretch it at all. It's got a decent amount of ease. And here is my yarn that I am using. So here's my next ball that I just wound up, and it's, oh shit, sorry about that. It's called Haynes Creek Heathers by Gathering Yarn, It's an Aran weight, so this pattern calls for worsted weight, but I don't know. I feel like it's not that, they're not that different. It's 197 yards to 100 grams, and I don't know if it has a color name. The color is 114. So I got this, I don't know, probably 3 or 4 years ago. There was a local yarn store that was closing down and they had a big sale. So this is already a pretty, a more budget-friendly yarn than a hand-dyed yarn. It's a commercially dyed yarn, but it's a very nice, I don't even know where that went. Oh, here it is. It's a very nice non-super wash. It's not crunchy or anything, and it's nice and springy. So anyway, that's the story. So I am quite sure that this will be done before the next episode. I wish that I didn't put a buttonhole all the way up at the top, but I had to figure out, I had to do like 2 or 3 rows of the button band, and then I had to put it down and decide where to put the buttonholes. And I had all the stitches for the whole button band were on my needles, and I did not feel like putting it on like a longer cable or putting all the stitches on hold to anyway, it's fine. It just will never get buttoned there. I don't even know if I don't generally button my cardigans when I wear them. Yeah, anyway. Oh, and the bind off is, I don't know if you can tell, but it's an I-cord bind off, which sort of makes it look like it's almost like a rolled edge, which I kind of like. I think that's nicer than just a regular bind off. Was it worth it? I don't know. But it's the little things, it's the little details, right? So yeah, I just have a couple of, let's make sure that all those stitches are still on there. Yes, my stitch holder cord, I was sitting on it, it was under my ass. And thankfully there was a knot in there, and so all of the stitches didn't come off. Phew. Okay. My project is living in this project bag. This is a Fringe Supply Company project bag, which, as you know, if you've been here for a while, are some of my favorite project bags. And you can't buy them anymore. They don't make them anymore. It's like waxed canvas and just regular canvas, and they're the best. You can still buy kits to make them yourself if you want to. And I will put a link down below. I think it's called Grainline Studio. So that's that. That is all of my FOs and whips. I do have some plans to discuss, some knitting plans, after I decided to launch a cardigan make-along. Where's my shawl, by the way? Let's put this back on because it's pretty. It keeps it warm. Okay. Anyway. Yeah, after I decided I was having a cardigan make along, and after I finished my Taylor Swift blanket, I'm in cardigan mode in my brain, and I have about 30 grams left of all the album colorways. I do not have that much left of the Eras colorway that I did the pom-pom border with. This is all I have left of that. It's like 5 grams maybe. So not much I can do with that. But I have about 30 grams left. Oh, you can't see them. They're like down over there, of each album colorway. So that got me thinking, what can I do with the 30 grams that I have left of each color? And boing, I thought, oh, the Jethro cardigan, I will put a picture up here, by Tanis Lavalley or Pine Fibre Arts. It's something that everyone was making like last year-ish maybe. And I thought, ooh, maybe I could do that. Like, it's not the same granny square, but I went and looked in the pattern description and looked at how big her granny squares are, and it's very close to the same. Her pattern like varies wildly on how much ease per size, so I'm not too worried about it. Like, if it's a little bit big, that's okay, because I think the one that she's wearing in her pattern sample is like 17 inches of ease or something like that. So I'm not gonna make mine that big. I'm gonna make a smaller one, and then my squares are a little bit bigger than hers, I think, maybe like a 1/4 inch or a 1/2 inch bigger. Anyway, I'm pretty sure that I can make it work. So I have that on my brain to make a matching cardigan to match my blankets. So another thing that my brain has been thinking about, stuck on for a while, I went for coffee with a new friend of mine a week or two ago, and she was wearing this cardigan that she had knit, and I was completely obsessed with it. It is so beautiful. It's called Cozy Stripes. I can't remember the name of the pattern designer, Shayna something. I'll put a picture up here of the pattern sample. The one that my friend Kirsa was wearing was very similar. It was a pattern, I think, that was designed for Chelsea Yarns, and Chelsea Yarns made kits to put it all together. It's like a whole bunch of different colors, a whole bunch of different textures, like some is fingering, some is fingering mohairs. I think some is fingering held double, some is DK, some is boucle, some is slub. So like, it's all these different textures and all these different colors all put together, and like, my brain has latched onto it and I can't stop thinking about it. Yeah, so I decided that I'm gonna raid my stash and come up with a bunch of, like, you know, you've always got like random skeins here and there of different things that you don't know what you're gonna do with. Well, I'm gonna take all of those randos and put them all together into a beautiful cardigan. That's my plan. I have a working pile of yarn over past you, behind you, on the floor. And yeah, I'm excited about that. So that is another plan I have. Also, excuse me. Also, my husband and I are going to Cabo in the end of April, I think, for his work trip. We do a work trip every year, and we do a trip with his management group every year. Every year it's a different place. This year it's in Cabo. And so I've been thinking about, what can I knit to go to Mexico? And I've come up with a surprising amount of things that I can knit to go to a tropical location. First of all, I think I mentioned this in my last episode, that I want to make Look at My Holes by James N. Watts. And it's basically like a mesh top. So I am definitely making that. That I'm making for 2 reasons, actually. To go to Cabo, to go to Mexico. But I'm also going to Flock Festival in Seattle this summer. So if you're going to Flock, yay, let's hang out, let's meet up. I'm going with my friend Nicole, who is the Prof Pearl. Again, we went together last year for the first time. And last year we decided to knit the, oh crap, what's it called? Moon Crush tank. I'll put the picture up here of Nicole and I wearing our Moon Crush tanks. And this year we've decided we're going to make 2 tops to be matching at Flock. One of them is Look at My Holes, which is excellent because I want to wear it to Mexico as well. The other one is the Mini Mock Neck by, I think it's by Jessie May. I always get confused because it's always Park. Park and Knit. She's always the one modeling Jessie May's patterns, but she also models her own patterns. So I always get confused if it's a Jessie May pattern or a Park pattern. I believe it's a Jessie May pattern that Park is modeling. Yes. So Mini Mock Neck, and so we're gonna make that. I'm pretty sure that Jasmine is gonna make it too. So Nicole and Jasmine and I are all going to flock. I'm hoping that maybe Mari from Colorado Knitter will be there too. I'm hoping that maybe Kevin and Ray will be there again to help their friends. Why is their name? Fiber Hustle. They were working their booth last year, so I'm hoping they'll be there again. I'm hoping maybe to see my friend Elizabeth there again. We met there last year and I'd love to hang out with her more. Anyway, if you're going to flock, let me know and maybe we can meet up and say hi. Yay! We can hang out together. Anyway, back to Mexico. I don't even know how I discovered these. A friend of mine is in Cabo right now, actually. And she posted a picture of she knit herself the Siren swim skirt, which is by Park and Knit. And I'll put a picture up here. I think it's super cute, just like to wear over your bathing suit to the beach. So I definitely want to make that. And then I don't even know how I found this one. I think I was looking at you know, on Ravelry where you can look at everyone's different projects. And I found this one project that I was interested in. And so I clicked on that makers page and then I was scrolling through all of the things that she had made because she had made a lot of beautiful things. And then she had made this top that I'm about to talk about and it's beautiful. And it's a perfect like either bathing suit cover up or like a really cute top to wear out like to a nice dinner in Mexico, that kind of thing. It's called the Pisu top. And I'm going to put the picture up here of the design. And then I don't think I can put the picture up there of the project that I was looking at because I don't know that person. I don't have her permission. But she made a really beautiful, like all white, and it's like basically like 2 panels and then the back panel, but the 2 panels in the front, basically you just like tie them together. And so I really like the white one. So I have some white, like not white, but undyed. This is gathering yarn. My husband buys me like undyed yarn and puts it in my stocking every year. And so this is that. It's just like a fingering weight undyed yarn. So I have a couple of these. So I think that would make a really pretty Pisu top. I didn't show you what I'm making all these things with. For the look at my holes, it calls for a DK weight. And I don't really have anything to make it with, but I have 2 skeins of the same color in fingering weight, which are these. And this is Ancient Arts, which is a local Calgary dyer. And this is their little nettle soft base, which is 68% superwash merino and 32% nettle. Which when you think of nettle, you think of prickly and pokey, but it's like another like plant fiber, sort of like, it's not like bamboo or cotton or whatever, but it's a plant fiber as opposed to an animal fiber. So hopefully we'll make it a little bit less hot. I don't know. But this is for the mesh one, the look at my holes. So I think like it's a neutral, but with a little bit of color in there. So I think that would be pretty nice. And for my mini mock neck tank, I have these in my stash. This is the Blue Sky Fibers Wool Stock Light Fingering. And these are 50-gram skeins, but I have 3 of them. So that should be enough to make the mini mock neck with. This is 100% fine Highland wool. So, I mean, it's not going to be a summery type fiber, but it'll be pretty. I held it up, I took out my like denim shorts and put this beside them and was like, yeah, that looks good. Does anyone else do that? Like if you're planning a project and you're like, I'm gonna wear it with those jeans or those pants or whatever, and you take the yarn over to them and like make sure they look good together. Do you do that? Because I do that all the time. If I'm like in a yarn store and I have this one pair of blue jeans that I wear all the time. They're my main pants. If I'm in a yarn store and I'm looking at like a color, I'll like put it down beside my pants and see if they look good together. Tell me I'm not the only one that does that. Okay, so those are my plans for the moment. I don't have yarn picked out for this swim skirt. Not quite sure what to do with that one yet, so we'll see. Yeah, that's all the knitting things I had to talk about. So if you're only here for the knitting and making content, I will see you next time. As for my life updates, as usual, we've been busy. We had 2 birthdays a few weeks ago. My oldest son turned 12 and my first and only husband turned 46. So we had 2 birthdays in 2 days. Well, one was on the 12th, one was on the 14th. And yeah, my son who turned 12 had a birthday party. We went to do, well, him and his friends did laser tag, and then we came back to our house and all of them stayed overnight. I'm not using the words sleepover because there was no sleeping. So yeah, there were 9 kids, including my 2 boys. One of the visiting kids went home, didn't stay over. So including my older son, I think there was 6 or 7 kids that stayed over. They're all like good kids. There were 2 of them that were like not the shit disturbers, but they were the ones that were like the noisiest and the rowdiest. And if they hadn't been there, there would have been a lot more sleeping, but they were there, so there was no sleeping. Yeah, I did a lot of crocheting. I was working on the border of my Taylor Swift blanket. And at one point, oh yeah, my son doesn't have a phone. He just turned 12. I think it's ridiculous that kids in grade 6 have phones. I think I am in the minority, but I don't understand why a kid in grade 6 needs a fucking iPhone. But anyway, 2 of the kids, well, I think most of his friends at school have phones. But 3, I think 3 of the kids that came for the party had phones. So they were all hanging out downstairs in the basement, and I made the rule that they had to leave their phones on the kitchen counter upstairs. I told their parents ahead of time. I was like, just so you know, I'm gonna tell them that they need to leave their phones upstairs. If they need to use them to like text you or call you or whatever, they can come upstairs and use them. And they were like, okay, cool, great. They obviously didn't tell their kids that this was going to happen because they came over and they were all going downstairs, and I was like, okay, everybody, whoever has a phone, just leave it on the counter. And they looked at me like I had just shot their dog. Especially this one kid. He's like, I was like, leave your phone in the kitchen. And he was like, what? Like, yeah, just if you need to use your phone, you can come upstairs. And he's like, what? Why? Like, so they would go downstairs and play, and then the kids with phones, like, they would be like magnetically drawn back upstairs to their phones, and they would like have to come upstairs. And like, for no reason. They didn't need to contact their parents. They didn't need like whatever. They just like needed to be near their phones for a while. So they would come upstairs and grab their phone, and they would come sit on the couch and hang out with me while I was crocheting. And they were like, whoa, that's really cool. Like, they were genuinely interested in the blanket that I was making. So I was showing it to them. And one of them was like, can you show me how to do that? And I was like, really? Like, it's a 12-year-old boy asking me to show him how to crochet. I was like, fuck yeah, I'll be right back. And I went and got some like Michael's Walmart yarn or whatever, got a hook, and after, I don't know, 10 or 15 minutes, he had like chained himself a little bracelet and he was super happy. And then he finished watching YouTube or whatever the fuck he was doing on his phone. And then they went back downstairs. It was an interesting evening. Let's just say that. And also that same kid had just been like bragging to all his, was he upstairs? Anyway, he had just been bragging to everybody about how he had like hacked and turned off all the parental controls and stuff on his phone. But then they were still like, why can't we take our phones downstairs? Anyway, so yeah, that was an interesting evening. What else happened? All the sports. My kids' hockey, we're in playoffs right now. My younger one, so for the hockey playoffs, the format is if you lose twice, you're out. So double knockout. My younger son has already lost twice and they're out, unfortunately. My older son, they finished first in the standings after the regular season, so they got a bye into the second round and they won that game. So they're still going. So we'll see how it goes. Last year he was on the team, his team won the city championships, so that was exciting. So we'll see how it goes this year. Yeah, and my younger son, who also does diving, competitive diving, his diving team was hosting diving provincials a few weeks ago, and he wasn't competing in it. He's in pre-competitive, so he is still learning all the basics and stuff. So he doesn't compete in like actual competitions yet. But we're still required to volunteer and get all these volunteer hours. So I spent 5 hours at diving provincials volunteering. This is my first diving competition. I didn't know what was going on. But anyway, they have this list. And so it's like diver 1 to diver 6. And they're always in the same order. And they go however many times. And so they do their dive. And there's judges there. And there's an announcer sitting right beside where I was. And so the announcer would announce all of the judges' scores. So they would say, judges awards, 6, 6.5, 7, 6.5, 6.5, whatever. And so my job was to like physically write down all those scores for each kid. And then there was also a person there on a computer, like typing in 6 tab, 6.5 tab, 7.5 tab, whatever. And like, so there was 2 people on computers putting in the scores, and then the ghost, which was me, writing down the scores, so that like there was like basically triple checking to make sure everyone had the right scores. So yeah, I did the ghost for like the first 2 hours or something like that. And then I got upgraded to the computer, which was way more stressful. Because like you're clicking and you're tabbing and you're like, if you miss one or you get one wrong, then you have to go back and everything's happening really fast. Like it's usually like 6, 6, 6.5, 6, 7, 7.5, blah, blah, blah. And like if you miss one, and I have ADHD, so it's very hard for me to remember numbers in order. So anyway, after a few rounds, I got the hang of it, but it was a little stressful, but it was also really fun to see what a diving competition is like. And my younger son came and watched for a little bit, and so then that got him excited, and there's some kids doing some crazy shit, man. Some of the kids some of them were going off the like really tall, high, like 10 meter, and what else has been going on? Oh yeah. I'm just feeling my chin here. I totally ate shit in front of the grocery store the other day. I was rushing into the grocery store to like grab something quickly and missed a tiny little curb, and like boom, like total fucking yard sale, like down, landed on my knees first, wrists second, and like I had enough forward momentum that I actually, like, my chin kissed the sidewalk. It was not one of my finest moments, for sure. I bounced right back up, super embarrassed, thought I was in the clear, and then the doors like slid open and there was a guy on the other side who was like, "Are you okay?" I'm like, fuck, I'm fine. Didn't see that curb there. He was like, "Yeah, I saw that." Fuck. Yeah. Anyway, it's pretty much gone now. I had like a little road rash on my chin there for a bit. It was a little swollen and sore. Yeah, anyway. We're all human. We all fall down. It's always embarrassing. What else? Yeah, I don't know. I don't have very interesting life updates for you. What's something else? Oh, this is sort of knitting and crochet related, but since you're still here, you get this bonus content. My kids wanted to go see the new Sonic movie. There's a third Sonic movie out now, if you can believe it. Yeah, that's how good it was. But also, there was a lot of crochet in this movie. There was like a whole granny square blanket that was like front and center. There was a whole bunch of, I don't remember if I saw knitting. It was mostly crochet. Yeah, there was this one scene where Sonic's parents are talking about how they've started all these new hobbies. And so they're like kind of panning around the room, and the dad is wearing this like super wonky crochet sweater, and there's like crochet blankets and whatever everywhere. And then they like zoom in on this basket that's full of yarn, and like there's a crochet something hanging over the side of the basket, and then there's like 2 knitting needles stuck into the balls of yarn in the basket. So just yet another accurate representation of knitting and crochet in movies and television. Yeah, I mean, I don't have to go into it. If you're a knitter or a crocheter, you've seen something. You've seen a TV show or a movie or something where people are like fake knitting, or they're like fake knitting, but there's like a piece of crochet fabric hanging down from the needles, or just like whatever. It's always just so bad. It's always so wrong, and I don't understand how they don't just like, everyone knows someone who knits or crochets. Like, all of these people who are these producers or the directors or whoever that are making these movies, why don't they just fucking ask somebody? Like, if I was going to set a scene where someone was crocheting a lot, what would that look like? Or if, anyway, it drives me crazy every time I see something like that. And I know, I'm sure a lot of you have seen stuff like that too. So let me know down below what's the worst one that you've ever seen, because you have to laugh because it's just so stupid. Yeah, anyway, I don't really have anything else to talk about, just rambling. So I should probably start editing this so I can get it up on the internet sometime in the next few days. Thanks for joining me. I hope you will participate in the cardigan make-along. Yeah, happy knitting, happy crocheting, happy making. I will see you next time. Bye.